StarTropics has to have one of the coolest inserts of any NES game. I've been holding on to it for a while, but I decided it's time. I remember seeing this cover when I was little and wondering why it was so boring. There's no character or anything. There's not even anything pictured that the title alone, StarTropics, doesn't already tell us about the game. But at the same time, there's this oddly alluring formation of trees that seems very non-natural, and I don't know if that was a weird design choice or some subtle hint that there's something different about these islands, but it does kind of catch your attention, I guess. Anyway, the box has the dumbest tagline ever, "A test of island courage." Okay, I guess let's see if we have enough island courage. Here's the back. It's pretty standard, though it is kind of odd that they specifically point out you'll need to use common sense in the game. In fact, a lot of the puzzles are kind of random and don't hinge on common sense at all. Here's the cartridge. And here's the manual. It looks like a normal NES manual, but then there's something attached to the back. And that's the insert I was talking about. We'll see what's so special about this in a second. But first let's look at the manual, which is really good on its own. I love the hand-drawn art. Here we get the backstory of the game. Mike is going to visit his Uncle Steve, aka Dr. Jones, who has invited him to his laboratory on Sea Island. Also, Uncle Steve appears to be the angry video game nerd at age 50 or 60. So Mike arrives on the island, but his uncle is missing, and they tell Mike that he's the best hope of rescuing Dr. Jones. Yes, this 15-year-old kid who just stepped foot on the island for the first time, it makes total sense that no one is better prepared to rescue his uncle. Anyway, there's some art of all the items and enemies in the game, and a final little page giving us some info about the Southern Cross asterism. And now let's take a look at the big thing here. At first glance, this is a simple letter from Uncle Steve to Mike. He tells him that he received Mike's earlier letter, that he's proud of him for this and that he should come visit him and ride in his submarine, etc., etc., and that's all he says. But the bottom of the letter notes that this letter is very important for some reason, so don't throw it away. This is why. Eventually, you come to a point in StarTropics where you have found Uncle Steve's submarine, and the robot pilot requires you to give him an input frequency in order to progress. To find this frequency, you have to dip the letter in water to reveal some invisible ink. Now, I looked up the code when I played this game, so I've never done this myself, but now's the time to do this for real. I need to borrow this, okay? Alright, so I guess we're doing this the way it was originally intended. And I don't really like the way this feels. I thought maybe this paper would be a little bit stronger since it's meant to be submerged, but the way it feels right now, it feels like it could tear very easily. So I'm going to try to be careful with it. We can see a message starting to emerge, and it's kind of hard to read, but it says, "I found some strange ciphers in my last voyage. Since then, someone has been watching me. I put a tiny transmitter in my shoe. Its frequency is 747 megahertz. Perhaps I worry too much, but better to be safe than sorry. And of course, sincerely, Uncle Steve." So yeah, this is really cool, I think. A lot of people say this was a form of copy protection, or rental protection maybe. And that may very well be the case, but I don't think that's ever been confirmed. Honestly, to me, I always viewed this as just a cool little extra step they made to expand the experience outside of the game itself. Maybe that's naive. Probably that's naive. But either way, at the very least, they made a fun little thing out of this, and this is really unique. Good girl.